Today, we are going to keep playing with these Niagara particle effects. I want to make this ball dissolve into millions of little light particles. Um, it's going to be fun. So, now that I'm all set up, let's get started looking at where we left off with so now, just as a refresher, let me see where I'm at. So, here is the mesh that we're going to be dissolving. And before we can create this effect, we need to create a material. Or actually, I have to modify this current material so I can provide an extra parameter, like 0 to 1, preferably 0 to 1. Where 0 is invisible, and as we increase, we're going to see more and more of the ball. Let's look at, here is our working material. So what I want to do here, let's create an instance so I can play with it. Tune mat, here's the instance. We already have it created. So here's a parameter, and then to modify it, it changes the opacity. But this is terrible. This is not what I'm going for. So I'm just going to keep playing with it. Here we have this gradient. And I brought up some examples of what I want to do. I want to make the edge of the gradient kind of wavy. So I actually thought last night what I want to do to make it better than what it is instead of having just random noise, I want some kind of noise like this. I want that kind of noise, like clouds. I want clouds. Um, Not this vector noise. So if we look, let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of this noise. And let's just see, do I have just a texture I can play with already? Sample, let me look for a sample 2D. Texture, sample. That's what I want. And do we have a cloud texture? It's hard to see these. No, I don't think that's what they're called in here. What do we have? Smoke texture, self smoke. Maybe this will work. Yeah. No. Let me open it up and maybe. I don't know. Maybe not. Let's just try it out. So we have this kind of noise, and let's stick it in there. Let's see how our parameters affected now. After it compiles, Lasha! Yes, my balls are lording. Um, let's see what we can do to our ball now. So, Lasha, what I'm trying to do now is get my ball to dissolve when I'm done throwing it. And if it would just compile, please compile. All right. That is better than before. Ah, see, it's not an even fade. It's like that might be what I want. Why is it doing it left to right? I want it to go top to bottom. It's a little weird. Okay, but it's closer. It's closer. Let's see. Left to right. Texture. Gradient steps. Maybe what I want is a different channel mask. What if I did green? What's it gonna look like if it's green? Ah, maybe this top to bottom, like that, like that, like that, like that, like that. Let's try this. Let's go back to our instance. I wish it didn't take so long. So long between compiles, between playing with these materials. And my PC is pretty beefy and it still takes really long. Um come on. Hey. It's still not exactly what I want. And it's hard to tell why. All right, we'll just keep playing with it. So, um, what does this look like right here? Let's start previewing this node. So it looks like it's dark at the top. And as I change, let's see, what am I changing? Gradient steps. Starts at a 1, which is weird because that's outside my range. But what if I made it 0 and 1? Let's apply to see the reason we have this instance is we can play with these parameters and it's all compiled in, so we can change it really quick. Whereas over here, if we change them, we have to wait for it to compile every time we change the value. So it's worth it to just do it once and compile, and then come over here to our instance and play with it. Oh my gosh, it takes so long. Okay. Um, I'm I think I'm realizing why it's acting this way. And it's because although it looks like a sphere, I'm not really looking. Okay, so I'm looking at it over here over a sphere primitive. But really, what I want is I need to see what this looks like over my better ball mesh. So I got to select it over here and then tell it. And that's the problem because this ball, hmm, yeah, this is gonna like now my brain is thinking, how's this gonna work? Because like for instance, this texture up here is wacky crazy, but it's going over the sphere. Down here, this, which I guess could be considered a texture, I want it to be like a normal gradient, but it doesn't look wacky crazy because this UV mesh is different than a ball. So how do I map that? Say, I thought the texture coordinate would take care of that. Maybe that's what's screwing it up. Let's get rid of that. And let's get rid of this. I don't know. All right. What if instead of using the texture coordinate from the UVs, what if I just made my gradient a linear gradient? And then passed in V. Is this up to down? Let's see. I don't think that's gonna work either. It looks like it's doing the same kind of thing. Looks like it's doing the same thing. Hmm. Maybe I need to get some ideas from more blueprints I find out in the wild. Let's see. Let's just wait for this to compile. I don't see how this is going to be any different because I can view. Oh, I am viewing this. And I can definitely see that seam. Mm, mm, mm. Yeah, I'm not getting a clear top to bottom or left to right. I'm getting like just weirdness. Now, I wonder. Next thing I'm thinking is, I wonder if it has to do with my noise here. What if I undo this? Because that didn't fix anything. Let's go back to where I was when I had there. Now, what if I get rid of this texture and I just go directly in here? So I'm ignoring this noise that I have going on down here. Let me stop previewing this node. Let me apply it. Let's see. Come on. Okay, so my theory was incorrect. All right, for one, the gradient cuts right around the ball, but I want it to slice down. It's doing weird. It's doing the weird. I feel like it worked more when I had red as my channel mask. So let me put it back to red. And let's see, does it... Come on, come on. So let me think. If this does work, then I'm back to where I was like 20 minutes ago. Wait, how long ago? 18 minutes ago, when I knew that I had the ball receding from the top down, but it looked too perfect. I want it to be like, Yeah, so here the ball does. Okay, this is what I want. That's the effect I want. I want it to recede down, but I want it to happen. I want the edge to be kind of wavy. I want the edge to be wavy. So my thought was if I added in some noise, this is probably the wrong noise. It's probably the wrong noise. So um, let me see if I could find the kind of noise I want real quick. Cloud noise. Yeah. Something like this or this. Let's try. Let's just try this. Who knows? I'm going to try it. Um, let's save image as um, noise ballord content geometry basketball materials. I don't know. We'll just put it in here. What's a J-fifth? Really? A J-fifth? Not sure what that is, but we'll call this Clouds 1. That sounds good. Clouds 1. Is it going to import it? Or is it too weird? It's not going to import it. Let's go to Ball Lord, Content, Geometry, Basketball, Materials. I just don't know what a JFIF is. That's it? I can only save it as a JFIF? There we go. Curl Noise Cloud example. Cloud 1, save it in Materials. I gotta remove this JFIF because it's not doing much to help me. There we go. Import. Now let's change this to my Cloud 1 texture. And let's just make sure we don't have to change any properties about it. We have texture, alpha, HDR compressed, displacement, grayscale. We'll set it to grayscale. What else? Texture group. Um, does it fit into anything here? Light mop, effects, mop? Did I call it a light mop? That was weird. All right, I think that's good enough. We'll set that. We'll save it. Get out of here, cell smoke. That's incorrect. And now we'll combine that. Put it into our opacity mask. And we're just playing now. We're just experimenting. What is this air? Sampler's type color. All right. We want to change that. Linear grayscale, linear color. There. Let's apply this and see what happens. All right. Just gotta wait for this to compile. Mm. Cool. Oh, oh my gosh. Uh, that's it. That's it. I did it. Ah! God, it feels so good to do something right. Look, this is exactly what I want. Let's zoom in. And remember, I don't know what I'm doing, but but it looks like I do now. I love this. This is it. And it only took 2 days, 2 streams of playing around with it. But you just gotta be persistent. You just gotta be persistent and just I can't even tell you how many times that the only reason I figure stuff out is just because I did not give up trying. I mean, I have like nightmares of like, and there's different scales. There's different scales of like how much sadness and hurt you go through to get something to work. I remember um when I was trying to my last game that I made in Cocos 2D, Cocos 2DX, I must have spent an hour, a month, probably a month on the train, and this is like 3 hour commutes. So 3 hours on the way to work, 3 hours on the way home, a month trying to get it to compile the game on my Android device. And it worked fine on my laptop, but I just couldn't get it to compile. And I still have nightmares of this because, half of a month into trying, and you're thinking, wow, is this ever going to work? Did I just waste the last, however many months making this game and I can't even get it to compile? But I eventually did. And like those wins, when you eventually get something to work, just keeps you like, next time you remember that, and it makes something like a 2 day thing like this seem like nothing. Like, I'll get it eventually. Remember that time on the train where I spent, over a month trying to get it to compile with no community to back it? There's like no community around Cocos 2DX, which is why I switched over to Unreal. Is just, every time you had a problem, you had to dig into the framework and like look at the code itself. And I had patches that I was writing myself. So every time I upgraded, I needed to re-implement the patch in the new version. It was a nightmare. Um, anyway, that's just some talking, but I love it. All right, now that that works, I can feed that variable into the particle effect and have this material dissolve. All right, so this is one piece of what I need to do. So let's just start the next piece. Um, let's start the next piece. But first, if I go down to 0, it's still a little bit there. I don't want that. What if I make this negative 0.1? It's gone. 0.01. Oh, look, there's still some more to go. Interesting. But there, it's totally gone. That's weird. I don't know why. Don't know why, but at this point, I don't care. We're going to take this parameter and make sure that the minimum is negative 0.05. Is that what I had it at? And when is it completely at the top? One is good. One is fine. Yep. That's right. And it takes like forever to save. I think because when I hit save, it's compiling. I think that's what's happening. I don't know. Come on. I need to have like a bunch of things queued up to like talk about while I'm waiting for these compiles. That's better. It looks like, oh, it doesn't even start going down until, oh, I guess that makes sense. Zero point 0.5. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it doesn't make sense, but it's better than if it was like negative 0.05. You know what I mean? So let's start it at 5. The default value is 0.5. And now what we can do, which we're going to do real quick. FFS. Well, I guess we're not going to do real quick, right? Because of waiting here. But I'm going to go into the particle effect. And it's not going to do much yet. But what I will do is wire in a dynamic parameter and attach it to the time and make it like a curve, a float curve. And it'll start at 0.5, go down to negative 0.05 over time. And what I can do is change that function. It could be like, it's probably going to be linear. I just want it to go boom. I don't want it to like, or maybe I do. I don't know. We'll play with that. But let's go do that right now. Let's close this up. We don't need this instance anymore. Where's our particle effect? Here we go. Recall dissolve is what we called it. Now we could put it in the system. Let's open the emitter. Now what we have now is just nothing. It's just BS. We're just playing. New particle goofing. Let's see. What do I want to do? So I have my sprite render. Yeah, I don't know. This is not what I want to do at all. I guess I was just experimenting to see if I can make different meshes glow. So what do I have here? A dust particle. So I feel like we're gonna have two emitters. This one here is like the particles that go floof up into the sky. And we'll have another particle which actually renders the ball. Okay. So let's do that. So we have dissolve EM. This will rename because that's not even what it is. So this is the dissolve particles. That's the dissolved particles. And let's copy it. Well, let's make a new one. We'll make a new emitter. And this is, we'll start with fountain. And we'll call this dissolve erosion. Ball erosion. We'll, uh, we'll say that because this is definitely going to be tied directly to the ball mesh because it's going to use that ball material. So first, we have this, we don't call it that anymore. So we're going to add our emitter, which is dissolve particles. What? Okay. And we're going to add our other emitter, which is dissolve ball erosion. Now we have both of them in here. And to like not confuse us, I guess we'll leave it like that. Who cares? I was going to say we can disable this, but whatever. Well, we have this system, but let's go work on this particular erosion thing right now. Now I don't want to waste time, but I never remember how to do this. I want to turn off this background. I don't like this background. Why is it always such a pain? Show grid. Like it's not obvious is what I'm saying. Effective No, lit. View mode. No. Like, where do I set that? Is it is it in here? No, I don't right click there. See, if I don't know. All right, forget it. I'll figure it out offline, and then I'll do it, and then tell you guys later if you care. But let's now remove the gravity, and let's remove the velocity, and we don't want to continuously spawn stuff. We want, how fast should it be to dissolve? Let's see. We want it to loop once maximum, and we want it to take about 1 second to dissolve. We want the spawn rate to be 1 per thing. So we're going to get 1 ball. And our sprite render, we're going to render our better ball mesh. Wait, nope. Incorrect. Not a sprite render. We want a mesh render. And we want our better ball mesh. And we want the material. We might not need to override it. Tune mat. We want this. And why is not it? Why is not it showing? Let's see. 0 loop duration 1. I don't know what this is doing all the way over there. What can we made this spawn to? See, I don't understand that. I had a feeling that would happen, but I don't know why. We got our ball. We want only 1 ball to spawn. Is there like a spawn delay? Like what's going on here? Let's see. Loop duration 1, max loop count 1. Loop delay, no. What about up here? Properties. Ah, what is this? So it's always going to be this size. Nope, we don't have this checked off. And nope, I don't think anything here. Let's look at initialized particle. Um, mesh attributes. Ah, we want to make sure the scale is the same scale as the ball we're using in the game, which whenever I spawn the ball, which happens in the, of course, the candy dispenser. Um, nope, we don't. We want to make sure the spawn transformation scale is the same as our ball on the, it's got to be the same size. Because when the ball disappears and the particle appears, um, the ball we're just going to turn off and the particle we're going to spawn, and you're not going to be able to see anything changed. It's just going to be, oh, it used to be an actor on the page, but now it's the particle, and you won't know the difference because they should be identical. That's what we're going for here. But right now we don't see anything. What about our life? We want the lifetime to not be uniform ranged. We want it to always be the same. How do we tell this? Okay, here we go. We want a float. Can we just have a normal float? Just a float? Add float. Divide float. Float from curve. Float, float, float. Just want to float. Ah, it's not a dynamic input. I just want. Really? Just local bound? Yeah, okay, that's what I want. Lifetime is 1. So every time I make one, the ball always appears once. Mass, color, whatever, sprite. It's not a sprite, so I don't care about that. That looks good. Mass by size. I don't even know if we need a mass, but that's fine. We'll just leave that for now. That's not affecting anything. Sphere location. We want the location to not change. We want it always to appear in the exact same spot. Um, we're not applying any velocity, so none of this is mattering. So then the question is, why don't I see a goddamn ball? Why don't I see a ball? Hmm. Is now the time when I just start flicking things? Hope not. We also need something else. We want a dynamic parameter. That's what we want. So what we need to do to get this to work is go back to our thing here, and now we have this gradient steps. What we need this to be is a dynamic parameter. And we can name this gradient steps. Just like we did over here. I don't like that. Let's call it the erosion factor. I like that better. Default value for this is 0.5, just like it was in our steps. Cool. And these are unused for now. But I'm going to delete this, put in the erosion factor, and now we can control it from our particle. So this is going to be awesome. Still don't know why I don't see that ball appearing, but I feel like it's a very, very simple reason, and I'm just being stupid. I'm going to go with that, and we're going to play with it until it works. Okay. Now let's go over here. Now why don't I see let's get rid of this dynamic material parameter. There we go. Erosion factor. You see it, right? Now let's make this 0.5. I mean, I still don't see it. But give me a minute. Let's figure this out. I remember when I made this loop count 2. Nope. I made something. I changed the spawn rate. There we go. Let's make this 10. Why is it disappearing and then showing up again? Oh, I just don't get it. Max loop count is 1. No delay. Autocomplete. That's fine. Initialize particle. That shouldn't fix it, shouldn't change anything. Particle owner position. That is what I want, I think. Because the owner of the particle is going to be the ball. I literally want that to be. Okay. So I probably don't need sphere location. Wow, this is frustrating. This is frustrating. I don't know why it's not working. Uh, hmm. So I want the ball to kill particles when lifetime has elapsed. Yeah. You know, I don't even know if it's really we're just gonna try it out. I don't know if it's really having that little skippy jump because it's not gonna loop at all. It's just gonna die and disappear at the end. So maybe I'm thinking doesn't even matter. I want it to go once, last 1 second, spawn one thing, and that's it. What if I add a velocity just like I had before? And no, I just don't understand why it's not showing up. Hmm. All right, let's get in our dynamic material parameter updating. We want the first parameter, set specific parameters. Um, so what we want here is we want to start at 0.5 up here. And we want our erosion factor to be a float from curve. Can we make a little curve here? All right. So at time 0, we want the value to be 0.5. And at time 1, we want the value to be negative 0.05. So now the ball should dissolve if we frickin', excuse me. Can I curse on stream? It's my stream. I can do whatever I want. If we could see the ball, it should be dissolving. I wish. There was a way to test that out. Hmm. Oh, it's not playing. Ugh. Let's see. Where's the lifetime? What? What? I don't get it. So the ball appears at 1 second. Why? No. That doesn't make any sense to me. It looks like the erosion factor is not doing anything here. Hmm. 0, it's 0.5. And now what I really want is at time 5 to be negative 0.5. I feel like that should work. I feel like that should work, and it's not. I really don't want to stop while it's not doing what I think it should be doing. Can I make this a float from curve? Okay, this looks better. All right, so apparently I don't put it in there. All right, so let's try this. Float from curve. At 0, I want 0.5. And at 1, because I still think it should be 1 second dissolve, I want it to be negative 0.05. No? Nothing? 0? Hmm. How do I tell it to update them? Yeah, see, it's just not updating. Hmm. Oh, I gotta start work. I really want to know why this isn't working.